Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin Frost here, an astrologer living on the coast of Kona, the Big Island. Here to maybe entertain you a little bit and serve you a little bit and let you know what's coming up. And I got some fun things to share. Hopefully maybe a little wisdom too. Yeah, my name is Rollin Frost. Snowflake. Hey, check this out, huh? It's just popped out of some piece of equipment here I had by me. It was an old printer or something. See how complex it is? This looks like a city. And my thought for the day is the age of Aquarius, once they get replicating things, they can replicate and make them smaller and wow, these things. And they always seem to overdo it. Now they're saying, you got 300 TV channels. What do I want 300 for? Want the Animal Channel, the History Channel, Oh no, you got to have 400 sports channels. Every place I go, the internet's become, what's a tweet? Facebook, social media, eek. And there's advertisements all over. The thing gets complicated fast. Aquarian things seem like a really good idea at first, and then you find out they're not exactly what you think. So all those great things for your telephone, I don't have any of them. I don't even have an answer machine. Make my life simpler. I also discovered that a lot of Aquarians, or so-called scientists, make things needlessly complicated so as to make themselves special, much like the Neptune people you've had for 2,000 years. The Aquarian people may be common sense scientific types instead of religious, spiritual, artistic, I believe stuff, but they nevertheless can aggrandize themselves. And one of the ways they do it is by making shit really complicated. It's shabai. So I'm trying to make some of this astrology thing less complicated for you, okay? Show 1006, we're going to cover third week in March for you, day by day. Here's some notes. Can you read this? Ben Franklin said, men must be taught as if they're not, and new things proposed as things forgot. But I'll bet you anything that you can read this. Venus squaring Mars. That's the condition you're in for a few days. And what is this? This is Juliet and Romeo can't get along. They're gonna get in each other's way. It's very frustrating. Mars is all loving and lusty, and Venus gets angry and things. This is not the time for a party. There is a lot of energy here. You could find yourself, wanting love, but being frustrated. And what's this one? Well, you'll recognize Mercury, huh? And that's a conjunct sign, and Neptune, of course. So what do you suppose that's all about? Neptune going conjunct to Mercury, going by Mercury. Well, going by Neptune. You get confused as to speech. You get inspired. This could be poetry. Oh, I have some poetry for you today. When I was in school, I tried to write a little poetry. It all came out environmental stuff, but I read some. And Neptune is the arts. It's a way of dramatizing things. And when Mercury goes by Neptune, you could lose your keys. You could get confused, go right instead of left. You could just forget stuff that Mercury is trying to remember. You could also, how it gets foggy, huh? And then it clears a little bit. Oh, I see it clear. I get inspired. Write down the lyrics to that song. Write down that poem. But expect it's not exactly the best time to be driving. And you got to watch the liquids. That's Neptune, huh? So Mercury, kids, could be in trouble with drugs and liquids and get lost. Kids are Mercury, right? And over here is all about this eclipse. The 18 Pisces, Virgo axis. It's mutable, you know, and that eclipse is conjunct the south node. The sun is on the south node. The father figure gets eclipsed and he needs help. And it opposes Jupiter. The lawyers and professors and liberals won't help. They're part of the problem. And it squares Saturn. There's a lack of responsibility here. Of course, this is Congress locked up in stuff. What is ridiculous stuff. They won't let anybody put another justice in on the court. Oh, don't get me started. I tire of the squabbling of the earthly politics. Frankly, I'm more interested in the health of the animals and some of the species that we're putting in jeopardy. But, you know, I won't bore you with that. Here's a chart. Small reminder of the ouch coming up April 19th or so, plus or minus a day or so, to New York area. So there's Mars in square to Venus in mutable signs. There's Uranus squaring Pluto. That's still going on. The video cameras are blocking the police perversions. Anyway, enough poetry. Let me get down to it. What's coming up for you? Well, if you're watching the Thursday night show, the moon is at Aries. And in the morning, and early Thursday morning, it went by Uranus. Felt isolated. Squared Pluto. Alarm bells in the middle of the night. You could wake up in the morning feeling very strange when the moon goes by Uranus. You could either feel totally isolated, you know, where's my cave? I want to go hide out. Sometimes the cat that lives with me goes and opens the cabinet in the bathroom and it got a spring on it and gets in there and it closes and hides out. Where's the cat? Hiding. So this is the hiding Thursday morning kind of feeling. Yeah. Friday after breakfast and about lunchtime, the moon shifts into Taurus. And it's kind of a sweet Friday morning because here's a nice sextile to Venus. Mars ain't around, so she just wants to be, you know, refined and beautiful and have some fun and pleasure. So, you know, put some syrup on those pancakes Friday morning. It's a nice time. Also, the moon in Taurus includes nice sextiles to Mercury and to Neptune. And this is probably not confusion. This might be song and poetry, you know, and stuff like that. Very nice. This late Friday night, 11, 12, 1 a.m. in the morning. Saturday morning, the moon's still in Taurus. And here's between breakfast and lunch again. Here's a nice trine to Jupiter and a nice trine to Pluto. And, you know, maybe we could get this police thing under. You know, we got 2-3 million people in jail, more than 25% of all the people in jail in the world are in the U.S. And I just learned we've got a horrible 100,000, 200,000 kept in solitary confinement. I mean, this is a terrible, cruel system, you know. You thought waterboarding was cruel? You know, we need to change this whole law enforcement thing. Pluto has to be, you know, brought down to earth. First thing, take the short guns away, take the pistols away, take the sidearms away. Only long guns in the USA, and that'll stifle some of this stuff. It's simple, isn't it? Here's Saturday. You could do it. Talk to your friends. Feel good about some projects. Here's the moon sextiling the sun Saturday afternoon and evening. It's quite nice. Been a really good Friday and a good Saturday, hasn't it? Continues through Sunday morning, probably through breakfast, and then here about lunchtime, you know, the Romeo and Juliet start squabbling. And who took the syrup? I don't know. What am I ticked off at? Ask yourself what you're protecting. The moon's opposing Mars and Venus. She's gonna, you know, she could get hurt. This is not a good fight. No, Sunday. Find something physical to do that doesn't involve sex or sweets. Don't give the little kids any sugar. It eats up their B vitamins and they get violent and criminal for lack of B vitamins. That's what it is Sunday. Monday, the moon's still in Gemini, and you're going to hit the next square, the Jupiter-Saturn, and here's You know, they're locked in combat, the Republicans and the Democrats. You think that's all we're going to get for the whole year in news is talking heads giving their opinions about these people running for office. You know, I'd rather see horses racing. Come on. After you get through the whole middle of the day into the late afternoon, finally there's a sextile to Uranus, and common sense comes in. Hey, I go watch the internet. I'll tell you what I love is Mystery Science Theater. 900 great old science fiction movies with comic commentary. Wow, try it out. Just MST3K on your computer. And there's an escape hatch there for all of us. Tuesday morning, the moon squaring the sun. You know, sleep late because you won't get nothing done Tuesday morning. In the afternoon, the moon shifts into Cancer, and we start getting some good angles to planets, starting with Venus, and she's sweet there Tuesday night. This is about midnight, you know. And here's Neptune, Wednesday morning. Here's a nice trine to Neptune. There's music and color. And so this is kind of a blissful, loving period if you're relaxed. Wednesday morning. Wednesday night, here's a nice sextile to Jupiter. Wisdom pops right away. But just after the wisdom, oh, now I see it clear. There's Pluto. Eek, a bug, a policeman, a gun. And then it's square to Uranus. I'm isolated. Where can I hide? Noise, panic. Shifted into Wednesday night now, huh? Bugger. Thursday, the 17th, in the afternoon, the moon trines the sun. Make a plan. Get something physical done. Because here finally Mars gets his day. Friday morning, the 18th, the moon trines Mars. Get out there and do some macho stuff. Don't give him any sugar. Keep the girls away. He'll get the job done. Moon's in Leo. Mars likes a fire sign. He's fiery. You're going to get a lot done Friday with Mars. And Saturday morning, you'll have a good plan. Because here's a nice trine to Saturn. And then a trine to Uranus in the middle of the day. Their technical stuff is planned out. You know, the science is good. Common sense is there. It's nice Friday, Saturday with the moon in Leo, isn't it? Goes a little bit through Sunday. About breakfast, though, it shifts over into Virgo. And we start having trouble on our Sunday night. Here's the moon squaring Mars. Eek. Everybody's a little ticked off, irritated, angry. And don't drink. Because here's the opposition to Neptune. It's Monday morning and you'll still be drunk at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and you won't like it. So anger, you know, is like a fire, and putting alcohol on it, oh, bigger fire, yeah? What the Indians call fire water. Take a lesson. Hey, Monday's a lot better. Monday the moon goes by Jupiter. Yep, in the evening. You got some wisdom and you can clown around and laughing after the whole week has gone by, huh? Ha 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 ha. You know, through all my younger years, people would see my name. I'd tell them, my name is Rollin Frost. They'd say, you mean Robert Frost? No, Rollin Frost. But Robert Frost turned out to be one of my favorite poets. And here's the last few verses of one of his most famous poems. One I've kind of lived by, too. And I can vouch for it. Here it is. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost, 1874 to 1973. 2 roads, and I took the one less traveled by. I can say I've done that all my life, and it has made all the difference. It really has. I guess I just never liked crowds much. I'm a little more curious than others about what's down that road that nobody took. Well, next here, I've got a poem for you by Robert Browning. Born 1812, died 1889. What is that? That's 77 years. he lived. Gosh, I'm 75 now. Better. I can see the end of the path is coming up here sometime soon. But let's not dwell on that. I want to tell you what Robert Browning said about the moon. His poem is called Artemis Prologizes. And Artemis, you know, is the moon. Yeah, it's Diana to the Greek and Artemis to the Roman, and you know. But the moon is anyway. Here's the poem. This is all about. I can't interpret Robert Browning. You just have to listen. Through heaven I roll my lucid moon. See, this is Artemis talking to you. Rolling the moon along heaven. Through heaven I roll my lucid moon along. Through heaven I roll my lucid moon along. I shed in hell o'er my pale people peace. On earth I, caring for the creatures, guard each pregnant yellow wolf and fox bitch sleek, and every feathered mother's callow brood, and all that love green haunts and loneliness. That's the moon. She loved the animals, and especially those that love green haunts and loneliness. Now, I'm getting involved with a lot of animals here. You know what they used to say in our hippie days and Woodstock generation? Think globally, act locally. Okay, well, it's a method to my madness. Have you got anybody around your house, you know, that loves green haunts and loneliness? Anybody out in the yard? Are you sure? There's somebody that Mother wants you to love and care for. You know, all my life I've had cats around. My most young memory was of Mittens, on a tuxedo black and white that used to burrow under my covers and sleep at my feet. Such a famous cat. My mother actually wrote a short story about the little man who came to stay, Mittens' Adventures. You went through this short story and then you realize all of a sudden it was a cat, not a man. But a cat would go out and dig up carrots out of the yard and eat them. What a lovely animal to grow up with for a kid. I was lucky my folks were Iowa farm people and they liked animals, and I'm sure my mother hated the dog. And we had a dog, big dog in the house, a German Shepherd, and Mittens used to tease him and run around the kitchen and make the corner. The cat could make the corner on the linoleum when the dog tried it at higher speed. Slip, slide, and crash. He slid across there and hit the refrigerator. Bang! You know, the 80-pound German Shepherd. Anyway, I have such wonderful memories of these cats. And I've learned a lot about them. And I've had personal coaching from my mother. Yes, my mother in the sky, Artemis. And she wants me to help, and she sent me some stuff. And one of them was a lady from Advocats who I grew to know, who was putting around in the neighborhood on her little motor scooter. And slowly I began to learn what these folks were doing. And then, bless her soul, she died. And another Advocat lady who knew I lived right nearby called me and said, how would you like to feed her cats for a while? We don't want her cats to die, because she suddenly died. And so next thing I know, I'm out feeding what I used to joke and call them feral cats. I'm out feeding ferals. I go out at dusk or just after it gets dark or just before with a bag of cat food to 2 stations, and there are these little creatures here. You're going to probably meet them. Anyway, I've given up calling them ferals because They're very friendly. They always talk to me and they thank me, meow meow, for the food. And now I realize they're homeless. They're abandoned and they're homeless. Yes. And, you know, I had some resistance from one of the neighbors in the area who said, don't do that. I said, no, I'm going to continue. She didn't understand what we were doing at all here. Had no idea what feeding these homeless cats was going to do. But Advocat deserves your total support. And, you know, what Advocats does is they feed these cats, sure, and then they trap them and spay and neuter them. And I got a clinic. I'm told the lady veterinarian could do like 100 cats a day. So I got 2 little females, one at each of the feeding stations, that doesn't have a flattened left ear, which just means they've gone through the mill. And Advocats traps them, takes them in, has them spayed or neutered, you know, chipped, give them some health shots, bring them back, let them recover, and put them back where they got them. So they're not going to multiply into thousands of cats. That's what can happen if there's a food source. Anyway, these cats are really valuable, and they're very strange, unusual animals. And just like the poem says, they're night creatures. They're out there, and they love green, and they're used to loneliness. And the people on the Big Island have abandoned them and don't seem to care, which is really a very foolish attitude. And Advocats is fixing it so we can have these treasured animals around. And you find out a lot of these go back 5,000, 10,000 years. They were originally spotted jungle cats, big ones, jaguars and leopards and stuff. And they were domesticated. All the major kings and emperors of the world that I have studied, when they had their choice of all the animals around in the world, they brought elephants to the Roman emperor, and what they preferred was the spotted jungle cat, a really friendly animal. Yeah, kings of leopard skins, huh? You see them on TV honoring the cat. So what happened is, just as we did dogs, they were awful big. And what you do, you miniaturize them, you breed them down, and what you got is our cats. I had a cat named Buddy I put on the show, 6-7 years ago. He was a big orange cat, and you could make deals with him and say, Buddy, you get me, I discovered it accidentally. He's in the kitchen wanting food. I said, hey, you want some food? Get me a rat and I'll give you some sashimi. Then I forgot about it. The next morning there was a rat. Son of a gun, I tried it again. I'll give you sashimi, you get a rat. The next morning there was a rat. Buddy was a lot smarter than we thought. Well, then I'm looking around in my studies of ancient Egypt, and at Thebes there is a wonderful wall mural in full color of an Egyptian prince in his chariot racing along. He's got this bow and he's shooting at birds he's shooting at this big ringneck pheasant, and there's wonderful flowers and colorful things all around him. He's shooting at a ringneck pheasant. Right below the ringneck pheasant was Buddy, my big orange cat with the yellow stripes, exactly the same cat. He was an Egyptian hunting cat 5,000 years ago, and he is still doing it. Anyway, I took on a job here. I'm going to try to do a video for the Advocat folks, and I'm going to try to teach you a little more about these amazing animals. The more you look into them, the more special they are. So in the next few programs, you're going to find out a lot about these amazing, amazing animals that are living right under your nose and you don't know it. They're very telepathic. Yeah. Once you realize what it's like to be out there with the cats, then you know why, all you see is a round, luminous eyes. So if you want to speak to a cat, you squint your eyes down small. That means I'm relaxed and I love you, everything's cool. But if you make your eyes big and round, that means I'm alarmed. Look out, I could strike at any time, Yes. They talk eye talk. Oh, I can't stop. Here's a little more. This is from a national organization, Alley Cat Allies. And it really grabbed me because I just picked it up and started reading, and it says, few people set out to become feral cat caretakers. I didn't, that's for sure. Most often they come across feral cats by accident and follow their instinct to help. The first impulse is to feed the cats. Allied Cats advocates feeding because food and water are necessary for survival. Not feeding the cats and hoping they will go away is not realistic. They can't go away and they may starve, but they will continue to reproduce. So whenever you become involved with feral cats, homeless cats, your best course of action is to start feeding and as soon as possible begin a trap, neuter, return program to trap, vet, and sterilize all the members of the colony. Getting feral cats to a veterinarian for spaying and neutering is the single most important thing a caretaker can do for them. This is how a caretaker turns a feral cat colony into a managed colony whose members can live safe, healthy, sterile lives without the dangers and hardship of constant breeding. How true. How true. Here's a big hint. The path to enlightenment starts with the moon. First you have to know Mother and become telepathic. All the animals use telepathy. Your cat is a specialist at it. Anyway, I have a passion for animals. I mean, and protecting them is the moon's mother's job, and I'm working for her for a while. So expect more on this. And support your local animal lovers. The National Wildlife Federation, there's a whole bunch of people working to save these species instead of wearing them for fur coats. Now, those people need to be helped and supported. I mean, it's not Barack or Hillary who ignore the drug war problem and the people in jails and, all the politics and the silliness. No, this is about the survival of species. I mean, are you going to be the generation who's got to tell their grandchildren you couldn't save the tigers or the elephants? Hope not. Okay, I admit it, I'm a gifted astrologer. But I don't know if next year I'll be doing personal charts. I may start devoting more time to the non-human people on this earth. I don't know. Anyway, go to skymirrorastrology.com/TV, my website. It'll tell you how you can get your chart done. But if you don't do it this year, I'm not sure you'll have another chance. Besides, I have it in mind to spend my next solar return in Mexico at the pyramids, and I need extra money. Help!